All right, what's going on, guys? Dr. Stone, episode 14, Master of Flame. Let's do it! Alright, so we pick up with the tournament. Kinro and Magma are facing off against each other. Kinro just got the mask over his head so he can finally see better, but he wants a rule judgment from the referee. He's like, you know what? I don't know if this is fair or not. If it's okay with you, we'll continue the battle and I'll win, but I just want to make sure it's legal. If it's not, I'll forfeit the match. And, he consults with Magma first, and Magma's like, oh, I'm too weak, I can barely talk. Why don't you consult with the referee? I'll just wait here. And just as Kinro is talking to the referee, Magma, he gave him a little, hey there, Fred, and knocked him cold. And that was that. So Magma moves on to the next round. After that, we have a battle between, I believe it's Chrome and Magma's henchman. I can't remember the guy's name, but it's pretty pathetic. I mean, they're just slapping each other like, chickens, like little girls having a little kid fight. This has got to be the worst shonen tournament I have ever seen. There's no fighting. I mean, there's like no sort of fighting strategy or no sort of boxing or kickboxing or jujitsu or any sort of planning. I mean, they're just slapping each other. And then, of course, Magma's henchman forfeits because they don't want Kohawk to return in time, which, like I predicted last week, Kohawk did get disqualified. So she's out of the tournament and Senku moves on to the next round. So the last match is between Ginro and some dude with some muscles and some abs. He's got a pretty nice physique. He looks like he works out. He hits the gym, but he loses to Ginro. Ginro's chewing on those leaves that Senku gave him from earlier, and he thinks he's getting really strong, and so he feels like he's getting all buff, and he feels super confident in himself, and he wins the battle, but unfortunately he gets the shits, and he has to go run to the bathroom afterwards, so that's a bit of a bummer. But this kind of is, even though he wins and moves on to the next round, it doesn't really help Senku and the gang because he's on the same side of the bracket as Senku, and let's be honest, Ginro is a pretty weak character to begin with, and Senku's no better. He's just got science on his side, so their best chance is with Chrome, and Chrome's on the same side of the bracket as Magma. So Chrome and Magma gotta fight each other, and now this battle starts off in probably the most ridiculous, asinine fashion I have ever seen. It just starts off with Magma beating up Chrome repeatedly while he's on the ground. And I'm thinking to myself, like, what are the rules to this tournament? What, do you have to forfeit to lose? Is that how it works? Or you got to get knocked off the cliff into the water? So, I mean, like, you could just be on the ground helpless like a baby and they could just beat your ass senseless until you give up? So, I mean, literally, that's what Magma does. He's just beating Chrome's ass repeatedly over and over again. Like Chrome's a freaking whore and he forgot to pay his pimp, I mean, it's absolutely absurd. So anyway, the battle continues between Magma and Chrome. Chrome's getting his ass beaten, but then he grabs the helmet that Suika threw to Kinro. And he's got it on the end of his spear, and he says he's going to start a fire. Now, Senku says it's not going to work because you would need a magnifying glass to focus the beam of the light in one spot to start the fire. And, the lens that Suika was using was a concave lens. Ones that are thicker at the sides than in the center. The one that Senku was using to start a fire was a convex lens, i.e. a magnifying glass, which is thicker in the center than at the edges, which is able to focus the light. Just a little side note, I'm thinking I'll probably make a video about this, about how Chrome was able to start the fire with the glasses in the water. I think that'll be an interesting topic to talk about, so look out for that. But anyway, Chrome has got the wrong lenses. However, he's going to use water to focus the light into a single spot. But it takes a while for that water to accumulate and for that beam to focus correctly. And Senku basically says, you know what? It's going to take a while. Let me just calculate it in my head. I'm going to go through all these calculations. I know all the numbers. I can keep everything in my mind. I don't need a calculator or to write anything down. I'll just figure it out in like 20 seconds. And he basically figures out it's going to take exactly 60 seconds to get that beam of light to start a fire. And Chrome has got to be near perfect as well, because he's got to make sure he's holding the helmet perfectly still, because if the water's moving or rippling just a little bit, it's not going to work. So, instead of like battles, we're getting little sissy fights and calculations on how to start fire with glasses and water. So this has got to be the worst shonen tournament I have ever seen in my life. And then the fact that Chrome beats Magma, he starts the fire, Magma falls off the cliff. That's kind of funny. His name is Magma, but he doesn't like fire. Oh no! He falls off the cliff. And he lost. So basically that's it. We got Chrome, who's going to the finals. And then on the other side of the bracket, we got Senku and Ginro. So that's that. It looks like it's a happy little ending. It looks like they've won. So if that is the case, that's got to be the most anticlimactic shonen tournament I have ever seen. Like, you win the tournament in the second round, like the last round is just pointless now. So I'm wondering if maybe there's going to be some sort of loophole, if somehow Magma is going to get back in the tournament. One thing I didn't mention was that Gen was at the tournament. He was actually distracting Magma while Chrome was getting the water in the lens and was focusing the light on Magma. He put some sort of like mentalist voodoo magic spell on him. And Magma kind of just played along like, oh, I can't move, because he was tired and he just wanted to rest. It was such a cheap little ploy, and it was stupid and not really funny. It was like they were trying to divert your attention away from the fighting in the tournament as much as possible so you wouldn't notice how bad it is. But we did notice. It's a terrible shonen tournament. I mean, most shonen tournaments are pretty awful to begin with. Unless you're talking about Yu Yu Hakusho or Hunter x Hunter. Those are fantastic. But this one just takes that crappiness to a whole new level. So yeah, when Ginro is there, he put the whole little spell. So I'm wondering, is Shishio sort of wondering where Ginro is at this point? Maybe like right when they're going to win and they're finally going to get... And Chrome, I presume Chrome's going to be the winner. They're going to let him win, and then he'll get the hand of Ruri. Maybe like when they have all this jubilation, Shishio will show up, and that's when like the battle between Senku and Shishio will begin. Or maybe some of Shishio's henchmen will show up. Probably Shishio's henchmen, now that I think about it, because, I mean, we're only on episode 14. This is a 26-episode anime, so, I mean, they got to draw things out a little bit more. And I saw that the manga would probably necessitate a second or even a third season. So, yeah, a direct battle with Shishio maybe is a bit too soon, but I could definitely see Shishio's henchmen looking for Gen, and then maybe that will be kind of like the substitute for the tournament. So we'll have to see how that's all taken care of. The tournament was just god-awful, guys. Like I said, this is a new low for shonen tournaments. That fight with Chrome and Magma's henchmen was just the worst battle I've ever seen. That was so pathetic and pointless and unfunny. Oh, God, it was awful. And, obviously Senku didn't have a battle. And then the battle with Ginro and his opponent was just like Ginro flexing and, having these images of self-grandeur and thinking he's like some sort of hulking muscle man when he's not. So it was just like, nothing in the episode was really funny. The tournament was so uninteresting. And it was a very anticlimactic episode. I mean, even the evil villain, the quote-unquote evil villain, Magma, he wasn't even much of a threat. I mean, Kinro could have beat him if Magma didn't cheat. And then Chrome beat him with like some simple science tactic that I doubt would work in real life in a real battle situation. And the whole reason it did work was because Magma was tired and he didn't want to fight, so he just sat there for 60 seconds. So, I mean, it was so stupid. Everything was just perfectly planned out to work for our heroes. So it was like, there was no real threat, and they won the tournament in the second round. It's like, what the fuck? But anyway, I feel like I've rambled long enough. We'll see what happens next time. Catch you on the flip side.